Channel. If you've seen my channel, seen my videos in the past, you know that this year I made a resolution that for once a week I would do a live streaming every week till the end of the year, at least once a week for sure. And usually it's about any topic, conglomeration of multiple topics or subject matters into one basically for the live. I'm going to try to keep my lives a little bit short to 10 minutes at least, or maybe 10 minutes at least. I'm max 10 minutes. It might go into 15 minutes, but depending on the subject matters. But anyways, one subject matter, which I hate to say is, which I'll talk into about a video, that I'll create specifically for this. Giants fan and New York Giants fan, that is, and start of football season. And, honestly, I choose to block that game out. Honestly, I choose to block that game out. The moment that the field goal was blocked and returned for a touchdown, that's when I knew, all right, the Giants have lost this game. That's it. Because by that happening, I knew that was going to take the wind out of them. That was going to be depressing for the Giants themselves, and they weren't going to do anything. And it turned out to be true. Now, with the offensive line, I don't know what to say. I mean, Dallas's D is really good. I'm not going to deny that. That's a really superb defensive team. Between them and San Francisco, by far those two are by far the top two defenses right now in the league. Now, the question comes down to is this. With the Giants, I don't know what happened. I mean, the defense, put it this way, they were decent enough, but they weren't great, but they were decent enough. And I think they're still gelling at this point. But honestly, to be honest, they held Dak Prescott to 143 yards. 143 yards. Granted, his QBR rating is like 72, but 13 out of 24, 13 completions out of 24 attempts. Granted, he had no interceptions, but no TDs, but they held him. They minimized him. Now, this is Dak Prescott, who's supposed to be an elite quarterback. Now, remember, the Giants team, they pretty much lost because of the Dallas D. The Dallas D pretty much scored most of their offense, quite honestly, more than anything else. And at that point, the Giants D, said, forget it, we're done. I think Dable even was like, why even bother? Let's just lose this game. Let's see what happens. Grind it out as much as we possibly could. But it's one of those things where I'll admit the Giants' offensive line, by far it was mediocre. By far it was that mediocre. I mean, initially you saw hey, look, with all this play action fakes and such and all these schemes that both Danny Dimes and Barkley were able to drive down the field in the first quarter, in the first play, and they were coming close. But eventually Dallas caught up and realized what was going on, figured him out, and I'm like, we could stop him, which they did. To the point where Jones could not even run anywhere. And the problem was Jones could not get rid of the ball fast enough also as well too. Let's not forget that. Dallas knew how to come in and attack them basically and cover their men to the point where Danny Dimes cannot get rid of the ball. So the question comes down to, granted it's only the first game. I really want to eat my words to the point where is the $40 million justified? So far, it's not. And I've been saying that since last year, was this justified? It wasn't. And if this keeps going the way it is, don't call me a prophet, but, or an oracle, but, hey, I foresaw this happening. Honestly, Saquon deserved more of this than, Daniel Jones for that kind of money, basically. Because if it wasn't for Saquon, honestly, the Giants don't have that really great record. I think, last year was a misleading because the fact is Saquon Barkley was there, and now teams are getting used to it. And the fact is, based on last year's playoff performance with the Eagles, as well as now with the Cowboys defense yesterday, it shows what defenses have to do against the Giants O-line, or the Giants offense for that matter. It shows what they have to do, and that's it. Now the question comes down to, is Dak Prescott an elite quarterback? Honestly, It was against the Giants D, which is it's good, not great, but it's good. But if Dak Prescott couldn't do much, how do you expect him to play against the 49ers? Or how do you expect him to play against the Eagles? It's that's going to be interesting to see. Now with the Dallas D, let's see what happens with that. Basically, I mean, I'm kind of curious to seeing how they play against Green Bay's offensive line. I think they may have the best offensive line that's out there right now. Maybe them or maybe Detroit, one of those two. It'll be interesting to see how that comes out. I mean, honestly, that was one game that like I said, I'm choosing to forget now. I mean, I'll probably talk about it in another video, but I don't know. The upset, of course, with the Lions against the Chiefs, I think that was a little bit of a surprise. Falcons and Panthers, I mean, it was a give and go take game. I think the Bengals and Browns, I mean, I didn't think Burrow was going to be that bad, but honestly, I think Burrow always starts slow, so I think he's okay. Honestly, this is just one game. Give it 4 games and then see what happens. If on the 5th game you don't see any progression with Burrow, then I think it's a problem at that point. The Jags, I mean, it shows, how good Trevor Lawrence is. I mean, this is why I wanted the Giants to lose at that time and go for the Trevor Lawrence draft, but it's not the case. A little surprised about the Buccaneers, how they beat the Vikings. I mean, honestly, lack of Tom Brady, I didn't think the Buccaneers were going to win, but apparently they were able to win. 49ers pretty much dominated the Steelers, so that was pretty much a given at that point. We knew that. One big surprise, though, was the way the Eagles played against the Patriots. This is a game that the Eagles should have lost. I mean, Jalen Hurts did not play up to his level. The Patriots D is good. I mean, Belichick has really good defensive schemes to take out Jalen Hurts, and it shows otherwise. I think a lot of teams now can see what what both Belichick as well as Andy Reid provided when playing against the Eagles, against Jalen Hurts. You know what to do set up those defensive schemes against Hurts to take him off his game. Now, the one thing that I was a little surprised about was the Chargers. I mean, Herbert is good. I think, honestly, if the Giants could get Herbert, I'd love to get Herbert. Honestly, Justin Herbert would be the quarterback of our future. But I don't see San Diego getting rid of him. Now, when they, against Tua and the Dolphins, I think it's just maybe a case where they weren't used to it, but give it time, they'll get back into the thick of things. The Rams, honestly, let's see how it goes. Stafford did really well, 334 yards. That's pretty impressive, quite honestly. I mean, this is Tua, 466 yards. It's pretty impressive, but honestly, let's see how it goes on because this, he can't sustain like this for the rest of the season if this is the way he does it, basically. I mean, I don't think he's going to be doing 300 yards per game. That's very highly unlikely. Garoppolo did decent, actually, with the Raiders, honestly, because with the Raiders against the Broncos, I mean, that was a give or take situation. That was a game which I didn't know what to do about. But like I said, that was just a little bit of surprise that Garoppolo did decent enough to keep the Raiders in play. The Ravens, I mean, that was going to be a given that they were going to beat the Texans, honestly. But yeah, anyways, it's the start of Monday Night Football, so let's go with that. At least I'm happy about that. Let's see what happens with tonight's Monday night game against the Bills and Jets. It will be Aaron Rodgers' first game with the Jets, to see where they're at. Can the Jets beat the Bills? I mean, you've got, Josh Allen doing really well, so it'll be interesting to see it. And of course, tonight's game will definitely be a remembrance game for what happened 22 years ago. It's surprising. It's 22 years since that what had happened. For the loved ones that were lost, for those that remember them, keep them in your hearts and such. So it'll be interesting to see how this game goes on with the Jets and Bills and see how that plays out. Also, at the same time, I want to say to the Oh, wow, okay, I've been over 10 minutes. Okay. I guess I was ranting about football more than anything else. I mean, baseball, I mean, I think honestly, this year, it most likely will be, let's see. You know what? I'm going to call it a little early. The teams that are going to be in the World Series, I mean, it's a little early to say, but it's definitely going to be Baltimore. It's either going to be either between Baltimore or Tampa, one of those two, because forget about Houston, forget about Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota's doing really well, but I don't see them getting past. And it'll either be the Braves. I want to say the Dodgers, but I think it might be the Braves more than anything else. Actually, you know what? The Astros might make it because now they got Verlander back. They're doing good enough to the point like they might do something. So it'll be interesting to see. And from there, I'll see how that works out at that point too. But with that, I'll leave it at that. For those that have, enjoyed my videos, enjoyed my content, enjoyed my channel, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you have subscribed, thank you for that. Again, please leave your comments in the comment section. I do read my comments, all my comments, when I get notified for stuff, and then I do respond to them when they warrant a response. But again, let me know your thoughts. You're welcome to post up questions about what I talked about today or other stuff at that point that's related to the content of my channel. I can talk about anything and everything, so it doesn't matter. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered,